It's not about what you know, it's about who you know and how you communicate with those people. So in this video here, I want to give you a quick guide to great communication skills. We are going to talk about the first impression, how to build deep relations, and how to resolve inner conflict. And I want to really give you for each topic just a 3-step simple blueprint that you can easily remember and apply already today. So let's get started. Chapter 1. First impression. The first point is about body language, because when you enter a room, the first thing that people notice is not what you say, but the way you look, the way you carry yourself. And you probably have noticed this before when people enter the room and suddenly the energy drops. It feels heavy, right? And you don't want to be like that. When you come into a group or there's any sort of first impression, make sure your body language is open and it's not closed. Maybe you even show your palms, open body language. You even can take a little bit of space, that's fine. Not in an unhealthy, nasty way of like, I need to be the biggest in the room, but leaders take generally space. And the more space you take, it also shows that you're confident, right? If you say, hey, we have 2 points, point A or point B. Or you say, hey, we have 2 points, point A and point B. It's a little different, right? Take space in a healthy degree. And physical touch is another important point. So when you want to say hello to people, you want to make sure that you actually touch them in some regard. So you shake their hands, you hold them on your shoulders like, hey man, haven't seen you in a while, give them a hug, at least a fist bump, something like that, that there is some physical touch involved that also creates trust in a sense, and it's really important in the first impression especially. Smile, be lighthearted. You don't need to be the guy who's making those big ass jokes and being extroverted. That's not necessary. You can be introverted and still make a great first impression with your body language. So yeah, keep the eye contact. Don't look on the ground and be like insecure. Like look at people's eyes, be open, shake their hands. Hey man, how's this going? Haven't seen you in a while. My name is Marco. Nice to meet you. That's crucial. And then let's hop on to the second point, which is about sharing, because now the talking starts. And what's important is that people don't remember what you're saying. They just remember how you made them feel. So don't overthink what to say. Just share something confidently. And if you don't know what to say, you can, for example, use the Twitter method. On Twitter, people just post a comment, right? People just post what's in their mind. They just say what's in their mind. And this is what extroverted people are very good at. They just don't have this filter. They just say what is on their mind. And introverted people always like overthink that. Don't do that. Just talk out loud. Just say, hey man, I just walked here to your house, and on the way I was thinking about you, and I noticed, hey, like you did this online course 3 months ago. I'm wondering, how is this going? Like, just share what's on your mind. I once was in the gym and I trained my chest, and this machine was a little bit weird. I didn't feel my chest properly. And next to it, there was the same machine, and another guy was training. And I just used the Twitter method and said, hey, this machine is weird, right? Do you have the same? Like, I don't feel my chest properly. It's different than usual. I just said that. He said, yeah, man, I feel the same. We talked for 10 minutes, exchanged numbers, and I just shared what I was thinking. So try to do the same. Just when you don't know what to say, just think, hey, what was I thinking the last 10 seconds? All right, let's just say that out loud. And also, if people ask you, for example, hey, where are you from? What are you doing? Right, common questions in the first impression scene. Don't be short and say, well, I'm from the southern part of Germany. Share a little bit more. Give people multiple options to continue the conversation. So for example, you could say, hey, I'm from the southern part of Germany, where there are a lot of hills, a lot of forest. We love biking and downhill biking. But the last years I lived in the Netherlands. Right? People can say, well, Netherlands, I lived there too. Or forest, I love forest. Biking, I do that too. What kind of thing is it specifically? Tell me about it. Right? And suddenly the conversation keeps rolling, and they can decide what they enjoy and what they're also into. Last point. Now, you used your body language wisely. You started sharing a little bit, just like gave an introduction, just gave a sentence, just shared something where people at least, it's not about what you said, but like notice like, oh, he's a cool guy, like he's relaxed, he seems nice. And then you also want to make sure that after sharing, you also want to do some caring. So you want to show that you actually care about the people. You actively listen, look into your eyes, repeat what they said, paraphrase it, right? Like when they explain something, how they felt in a specific situation, try to phrase that in different words and be like, so that's how you felt, right? I felt the same back then in those days, right? Make sure that you listen to those people and you include them in the conversation. If there's like a circle of people and one guy standing a little bit to the outside, just open up the circle, be like, hey man, come inside. Ask them some more questions. Ask them whether they get what you're saying. Like, does that make sense what I just said, or was it a little bit illogical? Really care about whether people are also, understanding what you're saying, and generally care. It's a big point. And those 3 points, body language, sharing, caring, everybody can do them. Even if you're an introvert, an extrovert, something in between, I don't care. You can improve those and make a first great impression. Chapter 2, building a connection. So you gave already a great first impression, and now the conversation is rolling, or you're already meeting the 3rd time and you just want to make sure that this connection is lifted up to the next level. There's a deeper bonding happening. And it doesn't matter whether this is a friendship or a romantic relationship or a business relationship, those principles here are always key. And the first point is about finding similarities. Every connection is built on similarities. I've never stood in a party and said, hey, I play chess. And then the other person said, oh, this is amazing. I don't play chess. This is not going to happen. If similarities pop up, there's always this heightened energy and people bond. Like, oh, you're running? I'm running too. Last week I just ran a marathon. Wow, I'm just training for a marathon. Right? And this is when then bonding happens. So find similarities and highlight those. So if you notice, oh, you have something in common there, go deeper, talk about that and bond. Even if you may be different, such as she's a mother, you're a father, well, you both have kids, right? That's what you have in common. So talk about that. So this is the common ground, and find that really. Open up, share your values, share what is really important to you, and then if people resonate with that and say, hey, this is also important to me, you got it, right? The deeper you go, the better. Similarities. Second point is about creating trust. And one of the aspects here is to make yourself, to a certain degree, vulnerable. When I was 18, I was in New Zealand and I worked on a lettuce and broccoli farm. And after a couple of months, I became the supervisor. So I was basically the boss of 15 people. We're like up to 30. I was just working there for a couple of months. It was my second day of being a supervisor, and I decided when to take a break. And long story short, I made the wrong decision, and we should have done a break, but I didn't allow them to make a break. And in the end, I said to everybody, hey guys, let's come together. And you heard it in my voice that I was not confident. This is not something I usually do. I was 18, never led a team. And I said, I'm sorry, we should have done a break. Next time we will make one. I'm in this inner conflict between let's be productive, let's make sure that everybody feels good. I'm also new to this position, but I want to give my best. And I did a wrong decision today. Next time I ensure that we take a break. So I made myself vulnerable. And I felt beforehand that everybody started to hate me. Why are we not taking a break? What is he doing? And by opening up, I gained so much respect, and people actually deeply respect me because I opened up about my weaknesses and also sharing that I actually want to do my best, and I actually don't do this because I don't like them. I'm just trying to figure out myself as well. And this created deep trust in my skills and me as a person, that I'm a good person and I want the best for them as well. So make yourself vulnerable. And that could be also to just sometimes share your emotions. It needs to be the right context, just don't say, hey, I feel depressed, this is not going good. Make sure it's the right situation where you can share your emotions, and make also sure that's the right content that you're sharing. So if you, for example, saying, hey, about this meeting last time, I really felt put down. I felt a bit sad because of this outcome. That makes you already a little bit more vulnerable. And then maybe people start to share something as well and be like, I also felt uncomfortable about that, right? So they also open up. And if you open up and if you make yourself vulnerable, you basically show that you trust them. Otherwise, you would not make yourself vulnerable. So open and share. This is how you create trust, because then people are also likely to share, and then you create this deep bonding. And another way to create trust is to simply keep your words. If you say something, do it. That's it. If you cannot hold your words, don't say it. Don't give people a promise about that. All right, so we got similarities, we got trust, and the last point is make them feel good. How do you do that? You remember their name, you give them a compliment, a specific one, not hey, your presentation was good. No, say hey, the way you stood there with your body language, tone of voice, I really love that. The way you took pauses, really marinated your words, this was really impressive. Specific compliments. People will remember that and they will love you for that. And you help them improve, right? So they know what they can do more in the future. And yeah, just include them again on a next level. Really make sure that you're aware of other people's well-being. And I don't mean this aspect here, making people feel good in a manipulative way. It makes sense. It's just logical. If you talk to people, you want to make sure that you feel good. You don't want to hang around people with whom you don't feel comfortable with, right? So make sure that other people feel well as well. Chapter 3, resolve conflict. So let's imagine you actually got stuck in a situation and you feel like there's some conflict going on with my roommates, with my friends, with my romantic partner, with my business partner. There's some sort of conflict going on. How do you deal with that? Again, we got 3 steps. And the first point is very straightforward. It's about seeking communication. Usually you guys got stuck because there was no transparent communication. Maybe somebody did something and it started to bother you and you just don't say anything and they just keep doing it without noticing it, and then it starts to become this big conflict for you, even though there's actually nothing big going on and you should just have communicated it very early enough. And even if it's stuck a little bit more heavily, usually then you guys create distance, and that means you communicate less, but it's time for a resolving communication. So seek that communication. That's key. And the second point is, though, you don't just want to run into this conversation and say, hey, we need to talk about this now. You want to prepare for that. And you want to make sure that you have a very clear intention. This is the biggest thing. Why do you want to hop on this conversation and what do you want to get out of it? Maybe it means, hey, I don't want to be waken up anymore in the middle of the night. I don't want him or her to insult me anymore. Whatever it is, what is your intention? What do you tangibly want to get out of this conversation? This is very important. Also, so you don't get sidetracked, because in those conflict conversations, there's often a lot of emotion involved, and then people get sidetracked and talk about some other things. You want to make sure that you keep it on track. And the last point is about sharing your own feelings. So what a lot of people do wrong is if they seek the conversation, they use a lot of the word you. Like, you did this last night, every single day you're doing this and this pisses me off. You want to say more of the word I and stay with your emotions. And also you don't want to say, I feel pissed off because of that. You want to start at the very beginning and say, hey man, like 2 weeks ago, you made this comment and I felt a bit confused about it because I didn't know how to interpret that. How did you mean that? And then I noticed you'd keep doing that every single day, and I started to become frustrated. And like, I was even frustrated about myself because I didn't say anything. And now after 2 weeks, I really feel put down because of that. And I noticed I have to talk with you about that because it doesn't make me feel good the way we communicate. That's how you start a conflict conversation, which you want to resolve, right? Very important that you don't attack those people, because if you attack them, it's a very tricky situation, very emotional situation. If you start attacking people, they directly get into the defense mood, and their best defense is often an attack, and then it's never going to be resolved. So stick with your own emotions and share how it made you feel, and then you can keep the intention in mind, steer it in the right direction. Don't try to be right. It's not about you being right, it's about you getting your intentions straight and make sure that this thing is being resolved. Those are the most important things. 3 topics, 3-step blueprints. Let us know in the description below what you agree and what you also disagree with, right? Because this video was very compromised. 3 big topics. I just talked quickly about them. And the problem with that is that then the advice and the insights that I give are very generalized and they make sense for most people. And sometimes we need to go a little deeper. We need to go a little bit more individualized. The situation is different, the personality is different, and we need to account for that as well. So let us know below. And also, if you seek one-on-one coaching to get exactly those individualized results, then you can just hit me up. There's a link in the description below, and you can just sign up for a call with me. You can just have a first free call and just talk how working together would look like, whether that makes sense. And then we can talk about whether we actually want to hop on those one-on-one coaching calls to get those specific results. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.